Hello everyone, Squee here with another Thoughts Behind the Wheel for, I believe, June the 21st, a Tuesday. Hi, I hope everyone's doing okay. I apologize for the quality. I need to buy a better, headset and mic thing. I haven't done it yet, I just need to go out and do it. But for now, we'll have to suffer with this quality. So, I suppose we can jump right into the questions, because I did get quite a lot of them. You'll have to forgive me for a second here. In an effort not to, kill myself while driving, I recorded myself reading all the questions, and I'm going to have to listen to them, so you'll have moments where I'm not saying anything. I do want to go on the record right now. I don't have every question that was asked on that video, because a few of them were kind of repeats. Like I had more than one person ask me advice on GMing, things like that. So I'm just going to take one of those questions and I'll answer it, and that should cover, both questions. Plus there were a few others that, I think there was one that asked me, what are my thoughts on the geopolitical climate? I don't remember if I recorded that or not. But yeah, so there's a few, maybe I just didn't know how to answer the question. Oh, I remember. There was one, it was how many dictators does it take to make a union of ruinous states or something like that? And I don't know. There's obviously a reference there I'm not getting. So I don't think I have all the questions, but I have a good deal of them. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I apologize if I butcher your names. Just deal with it. So, okay, so Lavolpa asks, do I have any advice for anyone that wants to get into tabletop gaming and GMing? And as I just said, there were a few people that asked questions like this. Well, I'm not the best person to ask because I'm still fairly new to my GMing career. It may not seem like it, but there's the only GMing I've ever done, you guys have pretty much seen. I started GMing with Ardenfell. That was the first real experience of GMing I've ever done. So, I've been GMing for a year, give or take a little bit. That's not a lot of time. But, I will say I've learned a lot since then. So, advice. Yes, I have some advice for you. Remember that a pen and paper game is not a book or a movie. It is not a story that you are writing and have full control of. It is a story that you make with several other people. I stress this. This may sound obvious, but I stress this because one of the biggest things I've learned is that nothing ever goes the way I plan it to. It was frustrating for me at first as a GM because I was trying to lay out a story. I was trying to lay out demons invade and you have to bring the world together to fight them, and it's going to be epic like Dragon Age Origins or whatnot. But a lot of the things I did, a lot of the ways I did things was very frustrating for the players. I don't know how much that translates to when you watch it on YouTube, because when you watch it on YouTube, you are watching it like a show. You're not actually one of the people going through it. I learned very quickly not to treat a pen and paper game like a movie or a book, because let's say, for example, in a movie or a book, let's say the heroes get screwed over. The villain blindsides them and they get absolutely trounced and they had no chance, and it's just depressing. And as a reader, this creates and generates excitement because you as a reader know that the story is going to end good. For the most part, most of the time, the story ends with the heroes triumphing over the villains. So, in the back of your mind, oh, they just got kicked into the dirt. But they're going to get up. They're going to recover. They're going to be stronger for it. And I'm going to get to see this rise. And so, it generates tension of, ooh, what are they going to do now? How are they going to come back from this? But you are pretty confident they're going to come back from this. That's not the same in pen and paper games, and the sentiment does not carry over. I thought that would be the case. I forget what I did, but there were certain things I did as a GM where I was trying to demonstrate that that you're messing with some real bad mamma jammas here, and they got one up on you, and I expected the players to be like, oh no, they got one up on us, oh, we're gonna recover, and we're gonna get stronger, and we're gonna take this guy down. Yeah, that wasn't the sentiment I got. The sentiment I got was, well, very similar to real life, like, well, crap, that sucked, and I'm depressed and not having fun. Why? Well, because, why would you have fun? You just got the trash kicked out of you. You got blindsided. And I'm not talking about, like, it was a fair fight and the dice didn't go their way. I'm talking about, like, I as a GM did I set them up to fail? Yeah, I set them up to fail. I set them up to fail thinking that they would bounce back from it ready to fight again, like I would expect a storybook character to do. And that's not the way it works. And I understand that now. When you're a player in a pen and paper game, you don't have the same viewpoint the GM does, so you can't see the whole picture, and you don't have that same feeling of confidence that everything's going to turn out okay. You don't have that thought in the back of your head of, oh, the hero's going to bounce back from this. No, because you might not. It's a pen and paper game. You might all die. It might end horribly. So when you get knocked in the dirt and it really wasn't your fault or the fault of the dice, it's just deflating, horribly deflating. So what I say to you for advice for a GM, don't ever set your players up to fail. Now, I'm not saying that you can't make things hard for them, and I'm not saying that you can't make the potential for failure there, but don't plan on it. Don't try too hard to make them fail, because what you'll do is not give them a chance. In other words, if there's a villain who's planning to pull the wool over their eyes and bamboozle them, do it one of two ways. Either do it quick and painless and don't make it too harsh, like he robbed the purse, you know what I mean? So that they don't feel too deflated or not. Don't make it a long drawn out thing. Or give them chances to figure it out. Give them chances to see it coming. They don't have to be, in their face chances. You don't have to be very obvious, I am planning to screw you over. But you need to give hints. You need to give something for the players to pick up on. Because let's say I throw an NPC in there who's a sweet, kind NPC and helps them every step of the way, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, he just stole everything they own, and there was no way they could have seen this coming. There's no way they could have known that this sweet, charismatic NPC would have been such a horrible person. That sounds fine to you, especially if you're like reading a movie or a story. But as players in a pen and paper game, that's so depressing because you never had a chance. You never had a chance to stop it. You never had a chance to see it coming. You never had a chance to prepare for it. So in a pen and paper game, you need to give these little clues, these little hints that, maybe this guy is not all he's cracked up to be. And you know what? Maybe they'll catch the hints. Maybe they won't. But if they don't catch the hints, then that's on them. You as a GM put them out there. And if they didn't catch on it, that's on them. And if they get upset later saying, well, I didn't see it coming, you can simply point out, well, the clues were there. There was this suspicious activity they were doing. And when you asked them the question about this, man, that answer was really not the answer that it should have been. So, and most of the time your players would go, oh, that's right, I should have seen this coming. That's what you want. What you want is your players to be angry at the NPC, sure, but not be angry at the GM. So that's some good advice for you. I suppose another really good advice I have is A frustration as a GM is you're the narrator of the world. You pretty much set the tone. You set the beginnings of the story. And you can make these rich and wonderful worlds and environments. You want your players to explore them, but you have to be very careful about railroading. A good example is in the Three Galaxies campaign. I railroaded the characters a little bit to go to Siren. The choice to go to Siren was completely theirs, but once they got to Siren, I had a giant Thaladian rip a hole in their engine so that they were stuck on Siren and had no choice but to explore it in order to fix their ship. Now, I railroaded this a little bit because I really, this was going to happen. The Thaladian was going to damage their engine. There wasn't much they could do about it. The Thaladian was on them before they even knew it was there. Not my brightest GMing moment. The players weren't too upset about it because honestly it was a small infraction, if you call it that. And it was, you know, for the sake of adventure, and they were fine. But it was still a faux pas as a GM. The reason I did this is because I was like, well, I spent a lot of time and effort making this world, and I want them to explore this world. And if I don't give them a strong enough incentive to explore it, I know my party very well could have landed, done what they were supposed to do, and left. And all of the hard work I put into it would have been for naught. That was my thinking. And there is a certain truth to that. Sometimes a GM really has to show the players that there's something here worth exploring. And the first thought behind that is my first thought that I went with was a little bit of railroading. A little bit of railroading, take out their engine, make it so that they have to go explore this place. But that's not necessary. It's really not. Excuse me. Hang on, let me get a drink. It's not necessary at all. All you have to do is change your thinking a little bit. Wow, my throat. So my thinking, change your thinking a little bit to this. You make a fantastic world or village or city that you want the players to experience. Okay, that's great. That's fantastic. Make it and then put it on the back burner. Put it in the back of your notes. Just have it ready to go. And then just put it back there. The thing is, you can make whatever setting you want, but as a GM, you have to be learn to be very flexible about when your players experience it. And what I mean by that is this. Don't ever make a setting that you want your characters to explore and think in 3 sessions they're going to explore this. No. Make it and say, someday my players are going to experience this. And then put it in the back. And then don't worry about it. And continue on with the story and what you're doing and what you're planning. And then opportunities will present themselves. Maybe the players are like, oh man, we need to go somewhere to get this gem appraised, you know? And you can be like, oh, they need to go somewhere. They need to go somewhere. Maybe I should lay some hints to go to this place. Let's say it's a town that you want them to experience. Maybe I should lay some hints that, oh, there's a really good jeweler in this town. And maybe they'll catch on to it. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be like, well, no, it's fine. We got to go do this, this, and this. Okay, just let it go. Let it go. Then maybe a month later, they're looking into something, and then maybe you lay down a little plot hook. Oh, hey, there's a thief. Oh, man, and the thief has run to this city. And then the players will be like, oh, okay, maybe we should go chase him down, you know? Or maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll go do something else. And then a little bit later, you set in another subtle plot hook of, hey, that city. And the cool part about this, the interesting thing about this, is that if you do it right, the players will start to go, man, you know, everything's revolving around the city. What the hell is up with this city? And that, in and of itself, will make them curious and want to go explore. But the point I'm making here is Siren was a great place, and there was, I made a lot of rich lore to it, and the players had a lot of fun exploring that lore. but they shouldn't have been forced to do it then. What I should have done was let the players do what they wanted to do, and let's say they left Siren, right? Okay, well, they left Siren, so Siren is gone. But I take this cool culture and lore and apply it to another planet later. Because sooner or later, they're going to approach a planet, and sooner or later, I will be able to use this material I've made, and it'll be fantastic. And even more than that, imagine how cool you'll look as a GM if the players decided to, in their minds, decided to go to this place out of the blue, and bam, you've got all this stuff prepared. So that would be my biggest advice as a GM. If you're going to make a town, a city, a setting, a story, and it could be a story too, like a little campaign or something like that, like, you know, an underground smuggling ring that the players have to take on or whatnot. Make it, and make it as detailed as you want. The more detailed, the better. But what you need to be flexible on is when it happens. It needs to be very flexible so that it feels organic and the players don't ever have to be railroaded into it. What I could have done on Siren was, instead of having the Thaladian attack their engine and automatically damage it, I could have had the Thaladian attack them. And maybe it damages their engine in the course of the fight. And if so, boom, hey, they gotta go explore the planet. And they don't feel railroaded. They feel like they fought the Thaladian, the fight didn't go their way, now their engine's gone and they gotta go fix it. Or maybe they fight off the Thaladian and they don't have to fix their engine. Okay, fine. But a month from now, they get into a space fight. And maybe that space fight puts a hole in their engine. Or their whatever, and they have to put down on the closest thing, and that closest thing happens to be this godforsaken planet. You see what I mean? There will always be opportunities for you to use the material, but if you aren't flexible about when you use it, you're going to end up making it feel forced. And so yeah, that would be my advice to starting GMers, is understand that this is not a story or a book, and that your players always need to have a chance to avert whatever bad things come their way. That way, if they don't avert it, that's on them. And to make beautiful, wonderful set pieces, but to be very, very flexible when and how you use them. Like my example with that city, you know, sometimes you don't always have to name the city. Maybe it doesn't have to be a specific city. Maybe it could be any city. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's my advice. So, yep. So next question. Next question. Okay, Little Gibble, I think is his name, asked, can I answer just some simple questions, like in real life questions, like my name, age, how I got into gaming, etc. Sure. My name's Steven with a PH, because that's the cool way to spell it. Middle name's Castle, last name's Fagan. I don't mind if you guys know or anything. My age is 32. I am 32. I'm starting to bald. I'm going for the Patrick Stewart look. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be epic one day. Which is weird, because I'm the only person in my family that's balding, like, at all. My brothers, no. My family, no. I mean, no one. I don't have any idea where it's coming from. So, yep. Got the awesome gene pool on that one. But how did I get into gaming? Oh god, I grew up with gaming. I grew up as a kid loving to go to arcades and playing my Super Nintendo, etc., etc. So I was, you know, been in gaming for as long as I can remember. So that's that. Next question. Carito key. Okay. Alright. I think Carito key. I don't know. I'm probably butchering that name. Asked if I saw E3 and what are my thoughts on it for this year. I paid some mild attention to it. I basically went to like one of those videos that had all the highlights of the best games announced, etc., etc. You know, it looked good. I think this is going to come up later too. I am not as hyped as I used to be for video games. That doesn't mean I don't like video games as much. It certainly doesn't mean I don't enjoy video games as much as I used to. I think it's even more so the other way. but that I don't get excited for an upcoming video games the way I used to, because I've been burned a bit too many times of, oh man, this game's gonna be awesome, this game is not awesome. So I maintain a healthy level of skepticism until the game is in my hands. Now, it doesn't mean I don't get excited about games. It certainly doesn't mean I don't get curious or interested in games. What did I think of E3 this year? Honestly, pretty weak showing. Nothing that really jumped out and grabbed me like, ooh. A lot of VR stuff, which, you know, I'll have to wait and see if that's a gimmick or a thing that sticks around. I mean, I can't say much about Mass Effect Andromeda because we didn't really get anything on it. A couple of new still shots, which look cool, but, you know, there's really nothing to see about that game. I'll tell you the one thing that I was kind of interested in that I watched and I really enjoyed, and this is going to sound kind of crazy, but especially to me, but God of War. God of War, wow, what a awesome 10 minutes there. I played God of War. I played all but the third one. I played the first one, played the second one, loved both of them. You know, they were fun games, really violent, etc., etc. I was never a big fan of Kratos himself, but I loved the games. The games were really fun, but Kratos as a character was always just too one-dimensional, slaughter, death, me kind of guy. And, you know, I liked the games because they were spectacles and they were fun, but, you know, Kratos as a character never was, like, anywhere near my top 8,000, you know? I like to sleep with the women and slay my enemies, you know? Because I'm tortured. And it's just like, oh, okay, all right, Kratos, all right. Good for you. Go kill that Minotaur now. But this one, I like this new direction. I like this new direction of gaming in general, of video games trying to do really good stories and trying to humanize the characters. And this simple 10-minute hunting trip with his son, and the emotion that Kratos shows during it really got me to the point where I'm like, you know, I think I want to play this game. I thought it was really cool to see Kratos, and I think they did it well. I think they did it in a realistic way. I could see the Kratos of old settling down, having a son, and acting this way towards the son. It was very subtle. He wasn't a loving, caring father like, you know, a lot of people would be, but you could definitely tell that he loved and cared for his son. He had no idea how to show it because he's freaking Kratos. But like that scene with the deer at the end, where his son had to kill it, and Kratos, like, I dare I say that Kratos was gentle. I've never seen that before. That got me intrigued and curious. I'm very interested in learning more about the story of this game, and I might give it a playthrough if it's like that. Because man, that seems neat. But other than that, E3, no, nothing really like jumped out at me like, ooh, it's gonna be amazing. So next question. Kyle Hood. I'm sorry, I butchered it like twice now. What are some of your favorite animes and why? You know, I'm one of those guys that true anime fans hate. I'm a mainstreamer. I love Naruto, Bleach, and Fairy Tail, and One Piece, and all the horrible stuff. And I don't like Death Note, despite how edgy it is. I really, okay, when it comes to anime, no, I mean, there's lots of good animes out there that cover the spectrum. But, I really go for shonen, and I go for the type of shonen that I like: Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. The hero's journey. The guy or girl who starts is not very powerful, and they train and they get better and they fight bigger and tougher enemies, and the fights are huge spectacles and sometimes drawn out affairs, and everyone's got their own special techniques, and they learn to use these techniques in different ways, and that's the kind of anime I like. I can't really tell you why. I just love it. All my favorite animes: Hunter x Hunter, One Piece, Naruto. Even though Naruto got way over the top towards the end, I still really enjoyed it. Because, and I'll say this too, I love long animes, 100 plus episodes, because it really gives you time to bond with the characters. I can't watch a 12 episode anime. I can't do it because I know the second I do it, the second I watch it, the second I get into it, it's over. I have trouble with 24 episode animes. I mean, those are a little bit better, but like the first season of Sword Art Online, I loved the first season of Sword Art Online. Not a big fan of the second one. The second one just kind of like, I don't know. It got, okay. The first half of the first season of Sword Art Online, I agree, was really cool and amazing because everyone's trapped. There's real weight to the consequences here. The second half of it was a lot more fun, but there still was some weight to the consequences of he's still trying to find his love, and she's still out there somewhere, and the real world consequences going on here, you know? The second season, I mean, there were people dying in the real world, but it just, and especially the last half of the second season, I mean, there was no weight to this. It was just kids playing video games, you know? I don't know. Sorry, but my point is, I love the first season of Sword Art Online, but it was over. It was over before it started, almost. And so I love long anime. Now, I do fully admit and understand that the downside of that is those animes that are 100 plus episodes long have tons of, not just filler, but they drag things out a lot, you know. Training sessions take 10 episodes. And sometimes you're just like, oh, come on, let's get on with the fighting. But when the fighting gets there, so much better. But those are the kind of anime I like. I like shonen. I like the hero's tale. I like the train to get stronger and then show how strong we've gotten. Now, there's a wide variety of those. I like, for example, what was it? Kikamore? I forget the name. But there was one where it was like this guy and this girl, they made barriers. That was the whole thing. They could make barriers, and they fought demons by making barriers. So you can come up with some really cool ideas that are really different and unique. But that's generally what I like. I really dig those kind of anime. All right, next question. I Stuck You. All right, I Stuck You wins Pillars of Eternity. I don't know. I've got so much that I want to play more than Pillars of Eternity and not enough time to play them that I have no idea. I assume I'll play it someday, but maybe not. I don't know. See, here's the thing. I love the Baldur's Gate games, but I love the Baldur's Gate games for the story, not for the gameplay. And Pillars of Eternity is basically the spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate. And I'm sure I'd love it for the story, but not the gameplay. And so I'm not excited to jump into it. Yeah, but who knows? Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Alright, who's next? PF0 asked about E3, but I kind of already went over that. What else? What else? Come on. What else? Oh, hang on, I'm gonna sneeze. Whoa! Oh! Oh, there was my lung. Oh! Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the name. Someone's asking me, what do I think the next big thing in gaming is? What is the next multi-million-dollar thing? Like, I guess what's gonna be the next hot thing? Like, hot game? Maybe this VR stuff, if they do it right. It seems to be making waves. People are apparently liking it, so who knows? Maybe the VR stuff. Though that could fall flat on their face. I don't know, honestly. I'm not good enough with games to know what the next big thing is. Where do I see the direction going, though? I see games getting bigger. I see more open world games. I see, depending on how No Man's Sky turns out, I see a lot more procedural generated stuff. Like maybe, I don't know. See, I'm so worried about that too. Like, maybe a Skyrim type game that's procedurally generated, but I just don't think that would work well. And this is my big fear with No Man's Sky too, is that, it's super big, that's great, but it's not going to be anything interesting or special to find because it's all super big and procedurally generated. Like, there's a difference between playing Skyrim, where I'm going to go explore this cave, and a part of me knows that someone made this cave and put interesting things in this cave for me to explore. And I might find something in this cave that's nowhere else in the game at all. It gives me that sense of uniqueness. No Man's Sky, I don't know if we're going to get that feeling. I don't know if you're going to get that feeling of, because no one made this cave. This cave was made by a bunch of numbers based off of what they think this cave should have. And there's going to be 100 other caves that have pretty much everything that's in this cave. I think it's going to lose a big, special part of, open world games. I don't know. Maybe they found a way around it. We'll see. In any case, but I do think games are going to get bigger. I think that they're going to get more inclusive, like what you can do. Like the Star Citizen's a good example, if it ever comes out. The ability to fly ships and land ships and walk around and first-person shoot. I do think that a lot of games are going to start trying to do a lot more in just one video game. But who knows? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Next. Dragons for 16. Oh, okay. Dragons for 16 asks me, what's my favorite period of history that's not used much in games and why? And why do I think it's not used much in games? That's an easy answer. The Crusades. Now, I have a soft spot for the Crusades. That was what I concentrated in college. I learned a whole lot about it. I love that time period. It's a fascinating time period in history where people are... you have such a clash of cultures, You have Christians and Muslims trying to learn about each other and live together, and sometimes horribly murdering each other, and sometimes living in peace and harmony. And it was a really fascinating time. We don't see that much in gaming at all. In fact, there's only one game that I can think of that really dives into it at all, which is the very first Assassin's Creed. Now, there's like a Total War, medieval Total War 2, kind of has some Crusade elements to it. I think Crusader Kings might, but they don't really dig into it. They just use it as a backdrop for their game, if that makes sense. You can have a crusade, but it's not really the Crusades. But Assassin's Creed dug into the Crusades, and I loved that game for it. There's just so much potential there for story and adventure, and I mean, this meeting of two completely different worlds, and the way people thought back then on both sides was so alien to how we think now. But it's not used in games, and I'll tell you why. It's a really sensitive topic. Christians and Muslims, not exactly a topic one can easily touch in today's society, which is a shame. An utter shame, because I think that there's a lot of room there for good stories and good video games. But yep, so that's my answer to that one. Next. Ace Jackson 127. Ace Jackson 127. Did you see the Civ 6 trailer? What'd you think? I left Civilization a long time ago. And when I say a long time ago, the last Civilization I played was the first Civilization. And I played the hell out of that game. But, you know, I'm more of a Total War guy. Civ, I don't know. Civ lost me a long time ago. Not that it's a bad game or anything, just, I don't know. I never got back into it. Never could. Alright, next. Alright, Maltech asks, what game character style do I like the most? Game character style. Like, what kind of heroes do I like? What kind of, I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know how to answer that question. I like all kinds. All kinds. I appreciate them for what they are. I like the Batmans, the, you know, tortured, not perfect heroes. But I also like the goody two-shoes. It just depends on how well written the character is. It's not a one type I like. There is well written and not well written. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but that's the best I can do for you. All right, next question. All right, Grim66 says, what do you think of the idea of if Rome had taken Hannibal and made him a Roman general? Would that have been a good idea or not? Would that have been possible? If I'm remembering my history right, and I did study Hannibal quite a bit, he abhorred Rome. He hated everything about Rome. I don't think he ever would have been a Roman general. Even if they had tried to offer to him, I think he probably would have just flipped them the bird and went along his merry way slaughtering them. Hannibal Barcar, his father, hated Rome, and he passed that hatred down to his sons. I believe they swore like an oath to fight Rome forever or something like that. It was really harsh. I don't think Rome would have had much luck in a recruiting campaign to get Hannibal on their side. I just don't think that would have happened. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he would have flipped him the bird and then probably stabbed whoever gave him the message or something. So, yeah, that's good old Hannibal. All right, next. Tim Combs. Tim Combs, how long have you been GMing stuff? Well, you guys have seen pretty much this interesting thing, too. It's an interesting case study, I guess. Every time I've GM'd, you guys have seen it on YouTube. Well, that's not quite true. The Corsairs you haven't seen much of yet, but you will. But Ardenfell and Three Galaxies are really the only things I've GM'd. That and Corsairs, which, you know, is coming out slowly but surely. So you've seen all my GMing. If you want to, if you choose to, you can see all of my GMing. So yeah, there's that. So only a year or two. All right, last Spartan 171. What's your current opinion on the geopolitical climate? I don't know. I don't follow politics that much. I think Donald Trump is a despicable man. I don't think that he's the second coming that people claim he is. I don't really care if he'd make I think he would make a good president. He's not a good person. Okay, when there's a shooting in a gay bar in Orlando and Trump, our presidential candidate, gets on Twitter and says, "Called it," I mean, that's not a person who deserves any respect from me. Period. End of story. And Hillary, I don't know what to think of Hillary. It's kind of like I'm looking at the elections this year and I'm like, I think I'm just going to sit this one out. So, yeah, that's my thought on the geopolitical climate. And that's in America. Other places, England, I hear they have a queen now. She seems nice. This just in, Australia has spiders. I believe they're running for office now. I don't know much about the geopolitical climate. I try not to pay attention to such things. Next. Hope's Clamor. Are there any video games that you're hyped about? Well, maybe God of War now. Mass Effect Andromeda I'm certainly hyped about. Destiny 2, if it ever comes out, I think I'll be hyped about. Maybe No Man's Sky, but again, tough call on that one. I'm going to wait and see what people think of that. I'm not, like, incredibly hyped about it. If Star Citizen comes out and is everything they claim it is, I'll be hyped about that. I'm hyped to play Witcher 2 and 3, but I know those have already come out. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm hyped to play them. So that's really where my focus is at the moment. The sweet Skyrim remastered. Oh, can't wait for that. It's gonna be so cool. So cool. Alright, next. Craig Benji. Oh, yeah, okay, I think I'll end with this one. Craig Benji asked if there's a progress report on the mod ending for Fallout New Vegas. Oh, boy, I think that ship has sailed, sir. That was like, what, 4 years ago? Or something like that. I wanted to make a mod ending for Fallout New Vegas, and I didn't realize how complicated that would actually be. I think I said this a long time ago. I tried, and I realized to do what I wanted to do took skill far beyond what I had, and I didn't want to do something half-assed, so I gave up. I don't think I'm going to be making a mod ending for Fallout New Vegas because I had some plans, and there was no way I was going to be able to do them, and I just kind of said, all right, fine, I give up. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop that for here because that's I'm almost at work. So, yep, so there's that. And by all means, if you have any questions for me, I know there's a few I still need to get to. I'll get to next time. But leave them in the comments below, and I shall answer them. All right? So, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Ta-ta.